Hi everyone, I'm Jason Ratcliffe, the home health expert, and is your home winter ready? Well, drop in on this episode to find out. Hello everyone, I'm Jason Ratcliffe, the home health expert, and welcome to this week's episode of Heal Your Home. Within this week's episode of Heal Your Home, we're going to be exploring whether your home is winter ready or does it fall short within the over 12 million homes within the UK that are not up to scratch for energy efficiency or winter ready standards. We'll also be having a listener question in regards to boiler issues and how to prepare for such, and of course a tenant top tip. I'll also have another interview with Aaron from LAN Fitness to go through more physical and mental top tips for you and your family.
Heal Your Home with Jason Ratcliffe, the home health expert.
You may be wondering, why are we talking about winter and preparing for winter when it's September? Well, we want to make sure that no nasty surprises come at the last minute. Christmas is expensive and cost of living obviously increases when heating comes on. So we don't want to leave these things to the last minute. If there's insulation issues, boiler issues, or anything that may cost some money, you want to know about it and resolve it as soon as possible, ready for when you need to switch that heating on when it comes round to the time of the year. So what to look for and how do you know whether your home fits or falls within the over 12 million homes that actually fall short of an adequate energy efficiency standard and the adequate safe means of being able to keep you and your family safe within your home? Well, there's a few things that you can do without having to cost of getting experienced professionals in. One, have a look at your insulation. Go in your roof void. Do you have an adequate depth of insulation, approximately 300 millimeters throughout, making sure that it's covered thoroughly, and also making sure that the loft access hatch is also covered. Sometimes that this can be missed and you can get black spot mold or heat escape through this, which is obviously not ideal. And also have a look at your double or triple glazing. Has it misted? Have you missed any sealant that may need some maintenance works? And if so, now is a really good time to try and get that replaced if you have the money to do so. If you don't, then secondary glazing or some form of additional insulating curtains may well be adequate. It won't fix the problem entirely, but it will cause enough of an impact or give you enough of a nice thermal insulation upgrade to just take the nip out of the air when it gets to winter months. And obviously keep an eye on it because these things can deteriorate over time. Also, having a look to make sure draft strips around your doors, your windows, etc. are intact, and if they're not, make sure you can get those replaced as soon as possible. These are very small things that do not cost a lot of money, but will make a big difference to you and your living conditions in your home. But also make sure that if there's any noticeable drafts in your home, that you can find the source of them and resolve them as quickly as possible. You don't want to get into winter months and find that all your heating that you're paying for is going straight out through drafts and gaps within your home. Now, also draft excluders, again, they can be very cost effective, and if you're using them efficiently, they are more than adequate to do the job. These are very little things that whether you're a tenant or a homeowner, you can put in place without having any further permissions from landlords or freeholders or anything else to help make sure your home is safe for winter months. Also making sure that gutters and pipework, rainwater goods are unblocked. This is really important because as you get into heavier rainfall areas or seasons, it can then cause a lot of issues such as overtopping, blocked gutters causing water to ingress into your property, and all of a sudden you can have a very big problem from something that could have been a very easy resolve, such as getting somebody to clear the debris or leaves, etc., from the guttering system to ensure that that rainwater can discharge adequately. If that's not done and it gets into winter months, then very quickly that can become a big issue that can cause a lot of hassle and trauma. So make sure that you're going around all of the rainwater goods and the guttering systems of your property, making sure they're clear, they're working. Keep an eye on them, especially if there's a heavy rainfall period, to make sure there's no leaks or anything you may have missed replaced within summer months, and make sure they're doing their job. And also making sure that they're discharging below ground level, so any drainage is cleared away so that no debris is blocking them, because surface flooding can also cause quite a lot of issues, especially access getting to and from your property. And also, if you have quite a level threshold to the external grounds, you then don't want surface flooding re-entering into the property. And also, if you have chimneys and you use open fireplaces or solid fuel burners, make sure that they are inspected. Make sure that the linings are inspected, the pointing, make sure that they are safe to use. You do not want to get in the position where you want to use one and all of a sudden you find that there's birds nesting or something, debris in there, or something that can cause a fire hazard or health and safety hazard. So it's really important to make sure you get your chimneys checked before using them, ready for when you need that fire in the winter months. Now, the obvious, heating systems. Make sure before you're firing up your heating system, you get it checked over. Get an annual service done on your boiler and your heating system, making sure that all of the components are working safely. If you have a fossil fuel burning boiler, so whether that's oil, LPG, so liquid petroleum gas, or mains gas, anything like that, make sure you have a carbon monoxide alarm within an appropriate area and mains powered fire alarms. Make sure you have an annual service so that all of these things and your heating system is ready to go. Because as soon as you want to flick that switch on, you do not want that to malfunction or need repairs. Because trust me, boiler or contractors, plumbers, etc., and heating experts will be massively high in demand when you need it, and especially through winter months, you do not want to leave it and leave yourself and your family without any heating system. It's really, really an uncomfortable and stressful situation to be in. But also things like furniture. So furniture. Now, this seems really silly, but the location of your furniture is really important. So make sure that you are able to move sofas and bookcases, etc., away from radiators to ensure that they have enough room around them to cause what's called a convection current, which can then heat the maximum amount of air around those radiators to really maximize the efficiency of your heating system. And as well as that, make sure you protect your plants. And make sure that indoor plants are safely in locations that are away from cool air or, at risk of freezing. When checking in your roof void, make sure that if you have a water tank within your roof void, it is adequately insulated and all the pipes are insulated to any water inlet to your property. This is really important because freezing within the pipes and the water tank is very common, and it can cause fracturing and further deterioration and damage, which can be easily remedied prior to any issues being caused if you just get insulated or adequate insulation prior to the winter months. Also, make sure that your insurance is up to date and covers any damage that winter conditions may cause, such as heating malfunctions or freezing and flooding. Make sure you're prepared for winter before it gets too late in the year.
Heal your home with Jason Ratcliffe, the home health expert.
Within this week's episode of Heal Your Home, I've had the great privilege of having a conversation from Aaron, who runs Land Fitness. Now, he is a fantastic professional within the physical training and or personal training profession, and he also studies general well-being within people's sleep cycles and how people can increase their mental and physical well-being. So, talking about obviously the location of your property where you live, that's, they obviously the time old term location, but from a well-being perspective, and from a fitness perspective, what would you be looking for when selecting where you're going to be living?
I think obviously outside space is really, really important. So like if you don't have access, if you pick a property near like a main road and you don't really have access to like going for long walks and stuff like that, that can be a disadvantage to your fitness journey. So basically, if we're talking about, say, weight loss, for example, our energy expenditure is really, really important. So in simple terms, calories in versus calories out. I think there's a little bit more to it than that, but if we look at what's called the Eric Helm's nutritional pyramid, the foundation one is energy balance. So energy balance is how much we're consuming versus how much we're expending. So if we've got access to really nice walks around the property or close by, going for long walks and getting that 10,000 steps. Many people have heard 10,000 steps before. It's a little bit of an arbitrary number. It doesn't necessarily matter how many steps you get as long as you are getting a significant amount. I would recommend 10 to 15 around that mark. Can be challenging. 10,000 steps is approximately 5 miles. So if you've got a nice woodland to walk around, or you've got a nice cycle trail that you can actually go biking on, that's really advantageous for your health. So it's quite important, in my opinion, to have outdoor space to be active in. And it doesn't need to be really high intensity, just casual walking. And that's a lot more beneficial for fat loss. If you're doing like running or high intensity work, that goes into like the glycolytic pathway. Glycolytic. So glycolytic basically means in our muscles we store glycogen. Okay. So when we eat carbohydrates, which is a macronutrient, that carbohydrate gets turned into glucose. And then that glucose gets stored in our muscles as glycogen. So when we do high intensity stuff like running or really high intensity interval training, we tap into that glycogen sugar because it's very, very quick to access, and it can give us a lot of energy really quickly. Whereas when we're walking and it's slow, steady state, not demanding, we generally use a little bit more body fat.
Right. Okay.
So it's quite advantageous to walk a lot if you're trying to lose body fat.
Right. And is certain types of fitness, sort of walking or cycling, is it better for indigestion and stuff like that?
Indigestion, I think, comes down to the food types, like what you're eating. Indigestion, as far as my knowledge goes, is how much acid you've got in your stomach, and you've got a valve at the top of the stomach, which basically the acid comes up. So I think if you're eating a highly processed, high carbohydrate diet, I think you get more indigestion from that because that valve doesn't quite close off. But I'm not a medical doctor, so I couldn't go into the intricacies of that. But that's my understanding of it, is food choices matter for indigestion.
Absolutely.
So if you eat something in particular and you notice that flares it up, it's a good idea to cut that out of your diet. Yeah. And then if you can, after like say a month, reintroduce it. Yeah. See if it flares that up again. Yeah. And then if it does, it's just, it's not going to work for you.
Okay. Yeah. The reason I was asking really is obviously that age old kind of thing of, especially after a roast or something, everyone then the family goes out for a walk. And it always tends to help with kind of making you feel less bloated at the end of it.
I did see a study showing that going for a walk after like a heavy meal does lower your blood triglycerides. So triglycerides is a type of fat that circulates in our bloodstream. And actually going for, say, like a 20-minute walk after a meal significantly lowers the triglycerides in your blood.
Oh, well, so
yeah, there you go.
There is backing of...
There is. It's a good idea to go for a walk after a meal. And you get more steps in.
Well, this is true. This is true. And I think as well, I suppose it depends on, not everyone's able to walk that far or necessarily, over tough terrain or, if you've got hilly kind of areas of walks. So I suppose that's quite a big factor as well, isn't it? And if you're wheelchair bound or anything like that, to make sure where you are going for your exercise, it's safe for you as an individual.
Yeah, of course. If you do have a property that doesn't have really access to a nice walk or anything like that, and you are going to the gym and you're trying to lose weight, you can get steps in anywhere. Like, I don't want to teach you to suck eggs, but take the stairs instead of the lift, stuff like that. Park a little further away from your workplace. A 5-minute walk can get a few hundred steps in. You do that throughout your day For example, recently to get my steps up while I'm training in the gym, I finish my set and generally I'll take 1 minute in between sets.
Okay.
So in that 1 minute, I'll walk around the gym and I can get 100 steps in and then do my next set.
Yeah.
And if you do that for an hour, you can get like a good 3,000-4,000 steps in just in your hour session.
Yeah.
So you're upping your total daily energy expenditure, which is how many calories you're burning through.
Yeah.
And then obviously if your goal is weight loss, you want to be in a slight deficit. So you're burning more than you're consuming.
Yeah.
So then we actually tap into our body fat and then we'll start to lose that body fat slowly and get leaner and healthier.
Yeah, fantastic. And I think going kind of onto the kitchen side of things, I know obviously you're not a dietitian as such.
No. So like a lot of people call themselves nutritionists, which don't necessarily have any educational background. But the dietitians are the ones you should really listen to. Right. They're the ones that can tell you what micronutrients you can be eating or any deficiencies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So obviously, you know, prepping meals and making sure you've got easy access to the right foods, I suppose, is really helpful as well.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, especially if you're active or you don't necessarily have a huge amount of time. So again, I think, you know, having those facilities, talking kind of relating back to your home environment is so important because otherwise it's, you know, we'll just get a takeaway, not because necessarily you're wanting bad habits, but because you're not setting yourself up for success in a healthy environment.
Yep.
I do catch myself doing that a couple of times, which is you got to rein it off a little bit. Where you go, I could spend time making dinner, or I could get on with something I have left. Poor time management. And I'll get a takeaway instead. And again, linking back to the fact that everything, you know, it's a holistic approach to well-being. It's not just you can be amazing at time management, but if you fail at the other sectors, it's kind of pointless.
Yeah, I mean, like your food choices definitely affect your cognition, your energy levels, and your overall health, your long-term health. So in regards to the time management stuff, like what I tell many of my clients is like if they're tracking their food on like an application like MyFitnessPal or others, like if they want to eat a particular amount of calories and they're trying to lose weight, is to pre-plan the day before. So the night before, you're like, okay, tomorrow I'm going to write out what I'm going to eat. Okay. So you write it all down so you know exactly what you're going to eat. So you're planning to like succeed. And then follow that and you know exactly where your calories are going to be. In regards to time management and making it a little bit easier on yourself, another one is just meal prep. Like if you've got a free hour on Sunday, for example, just batch cook loads of stuff and then put it in Tupperware box, put it in the freezer, and then you've got microwavable meals whenever you find yourself in a pinch, like when you want to get on with something and you just want a quick meal, but it's nutritious and you know exactly what's in it. There's no nasties in it. And then that's good to go. So in regards to that, like that's probably the best thing you can do for time management to ensure your food is where it needs to be, nutrition-wise and calorie-wise.
Fantastic.
And now, a listener question for Heal Your Home.
So, listener question. We've picked this from our emails, so thank you so much, Lauren from Exeter. I believe that you've recently moved into a new flat. This is your first flat, so congratulations. And you want to know what to do to prepare your heating system for the winter. Well, the first thing to do is if you're living in Exeter, I'm assuming you have gas or some kind of communal heating exchange. Make sure that you get get a service well before the winter comes in. So now sort of September, October time is a really good time before any serious expenses over Christmas or reduced income risks, all those sorts of things that typically occur within the UK. Now, services typically range from between £100 to £200, so it would be worth getting one put in place. You can also have service plans from people like British Gas. It may be worth setting something up which can then over time have further protection for you and your family to make sure that the property or the heating system is serviced annually and any repairs are done well in time for winter months. So that's what I would advise. But go and have a look at these policies because they're not all the same and some will offer more than others. So don't get caught short. Make sure that the policy that you agree to is what you need to, has everything in it you need to cover. So I hope that answers your question. But obviously, of course, if there's any further information, please email in to us or go through our social media. Thank you so much for listening.
Jason's Tenant Top Tip.
So this week's Tenant Top Tip is about having an emergency kit. Now, there is obviously only a certain amount you can prepare as a tenant for the winter, as you're very much relying on your landlord to make sure that all of the heating system, insulation, etc. is in an adequate and well-maintained condition. However, what you can do is make sure you and your family are safe. If you have power cuts, for example, make sure that there is an emergency kit available with a flashlight, with adequate batteries in place, and first aid kits, and including any fresh water and supplies just in case you end up getting snowed into your property, or if there's any reason you cannot leave or a power cut occurs. So whatever the case may be, make sure that you and your family are prepared for this winter.
Heal your home with Jason Ratcliffe, the home health expert.
Check out the website at homehealthexpert.co.uk for more information, to check out the services that we can help with for you and your family and improve your home's health, and also for the top tip guides that we have available for you. You can submit listener questions through our website and also by emailing our team at info@homehealthexpert.co.uk or by searching for Home Health Expert on Instagram and Facebook. We will try our absolute best to get round to your questions and help your family out to improve your home's health. Don't forget to subscribe to Heal Your Home wherever you get your podcasts, or on YouTube if you're watching along. Thanks again for listening. It really does mean a lot. We could not do this without you, and in actual fact it would be completely pointless. So please send in your questions, and I look forward to you joining me in the next episode of Heal Your Home. Your health, your future. It all starts here.